Everybody. I'm here with Marvin Daniels. Marvin is like an esoteric, mystical rapper today. He was saying, "What happened to your gold chain, Marvin?"
I had to take it off. It was too flossy.
Man, too flossy for this video. Too flossy for this Joseph Murphy SP video. If this is your first video of watching Marvin and I, God help you. And yeah, thanks for handing in if it is your first video. For those of you who are not new, you know where it's at. And you know that Marvin should have worn that flossy chain still, but he has not. Nonetheless, I have asked Marvin to come in for this third video in our video series about Joseph Murphy's superior SP advice. So Marv could, give a little bit of commentary about the section of the chapter that we're about to read. Again, the chapter we're reading from and making an SP course about, the playlist description, the playlist link is in the description. The chapter we're reading from in its entirety is Your Subconscious Mind and Marital Problems from Joseph Murphy's masterpiece, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind. I looked, The Power of Your Subconscious Mind was originally written in 1963. So yeah, Marv, I'm just going to read sections from this next part of the chapter. I don't even know if we're going to get through the entire section today, because you know how we be. But the next section, the previous section was called The Meaning of Marriage, right? And Murphy was kind of talking about the deepest ideals and qualities that we want to embody and bring out within ourselves, and how that will then correspondingly attract the right partner into our life. This next section is called How to Attract the Ideal Husband. And before we start, I will just say, obviously, this goes for people trying to attract the ideal wife as well. Blah, 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 blah. General disclaimers. I'm sorry I'm so crass. But this is called How to Attract the Ideal Husband, this section right here. So Joey Murphy writes, "You are now acquainted with the way your subconscious mind works. You know that whatever you impress upon it will be experienced in your world. Begin now to impress your subconscious mind with the qualities and characteristics you desire in a man. The following is an excellent technique. Sit down at night in your armchair, close your eyes, let go, relax the body, become very quiet, passive, and receptive. Talk to your subconscious mind and say to it, I am now attracting a man into my experience who is honest, sincere, loyal, faithful, peaceful, happy, and prosperous. These qualities which I admire are sinking down into my subconscious mind now. As I dwell upon these characteristics, they become a part of me and are embodied subconsciously. I know there is an irresistible law of attraction and that I attract to me a man according to my subconscious belief. I attract that which I feel to be true in my subconscious mind. I know I can contribute to his peace and happiness. He loves my ideals and I love his ideals. He does not want to make me over, neither do I want to make him over. There is mutual love, freedom, and respect. I will read, there's another part to this section. I will read that after we talk about this for a few minutes. So there it is. Before we discuss this, I want to say throughout this book, Murphy often gives, things you can say to your subconscious mind like he did here. Often they are long. Now, you can interpret it literally and say what Murphy just wrote or something similar, but I think it's much more important to capture the essence of what Murphy just said there. That really is the key. Most of you are not going to be utilizing such a long affirmation as that. It does work for some people, but if you're using any kind of like set affirmation, in all likelihood, it's going to be shorter. But much, much, much more important than that is the vibe of what Murphy was just suggesting you kind of capture in SATs, a state akin to sleep, when you do an exercise like this. Because make no mistake about it, Murphy says, sit down at night in your armchair, close your eyes, let go, relax the body, become very quiet, passive, and receptive. Talk to your subconscious mind. That's SATS. Okay. Again, this is not a Neville exclusive exercise. Emile Coué talked all about SATS. Charles Baudouin talked all about SATS. Joseph Murphy talked all about SATS. This is SATS, what Murphy is talking about. So the vibe of what Murphy is getting at here is much more important compared to the specific words, even though they are lovely, beautiful words. So yeah, Marv, just thoughts on that excerpt or anything else, that we just kind of talked about.
Yeah, I think you're right. It's all about the vibes. The vibes, which to me could be interpreted as another word for feelings, because
Exactly.
everything that Joseph Murphy just said in that passage is you want to, the words are not so necessarily important in a sense, right? Like we always say, and you hear other people on YouTube say, and I agree with this, that the universe communicates via feelings, right? The universe doesn't really give a fuck about what words you use, especially when you don't believe those words, until it is impressed upon the subconscious mind. That's why people do repetition, repetition, repetition. But if you can catch that feeling, if all of those sentences that Joseph Murphy just said, if you, instead of using those words, and you could capture that in a feeling, which might be easier for a lot of people if they practice it or whatever. I mean, everybody's different. Words might be easier for some, feelings might be easier for others. But if you don't want to remember that affirmation, like Tim said, that vibe, just catch that vibe. What would that feel like to, have that perfect husband or that perfect wife? That's what you want to ultimately get down, and this is also another example of how it sounds like Joseph Murphy is more so on the Abraham Hicks train of going general, right? Because this passage for a lot of people is for if you're trying to manifest somebody new, right? If you're trying to manifest somebody old in a sense, the words might be a little different. Instead of saying, you might say, have those words in that Joseph Murphy said, those words might say something along the lines of, imagine, your SP, your old SP understands you fully now. And, you guys are, in a, loving relationship or whatever the case may be. And
Right.
you can
Contributing to each other's peace and happiness and loving each other more and more in a mutually beneficial way or what have you. Yeah.
Exactly. And so then you catch that vibe. So if you're trying to manifest somebody new, you can catch that vibe of everything Joseph Murphy just said. But if you're trying to capture back somebody old, an old SP, then you would do it via the vibe way that Tim just articulated. So yeah, I would say that.
Yeah, I think it's important. And that's a great point too. If it's someone you've already been in a relationship with, obviously a lot of people with SP issues are trying to manifest an old partner back. You want to capture their best qualities. Neville always talked about this, like think of someone's best qualities as opposed to their worst, right? Especially your SP, the ex-partner you might have had. So if you saw them in a negative light in terms of how the relationship ended in some ways, you want to revise that so you see all their good qualities and forget their old qualities. Okay, because by focusing on the qualities you did not like about them, which is what most people with SP issues end up doing inadvertently, you're sinning, you're missing the mark, as Neville said. Yeah, so again, we get asked this all the time, like, how am I supposed to get this stuff to work? Like if I'm using law of assumption, law of attraction, law of mind, and I do want to mention here too, Murphy uses law of attraction in this phrase here, and he used law of mind twice before in this chapter, right? And you hear law of assumption, Neville say that. These are all the same freaking thing practically, guys. It's the same thing. Murphy's using all these laws, quote unquote, interchangeably, right? It's just beautiful language, right? And general cool theories that they're espousing by using this language. But if you want to implement these techniques and you don't know where to start, focusing on the ideal qualities you want in a partner is very, very powerful. And by the end of this course, that should be very clear, because that's basically what Murphy is suggesting you do time and time again, is focusing not on the bad qualities about like, oh, I'm never going to be good enough for this person, or I like this person, but they do this wrong, or there's this wrong with me. There's something wrong with me. This quality is not good with me. No, forget all the bad and focus on the good. By focusing on the good, you're going to bring that out into your world, both for yourself and for attracting the right partner. You would agree with that for the most part, Marvin, correct?
Absolutely.
So let me just read the rest of this section. Murphy just goes on to say, practice this process of impregnating your subconscious mind. And before I read any further, again, for those who missed the first couple of videos, watch the first couple of videos. Subconscious on a practical level, Emile Coué always said, and I think Murphy would agree, subconscious is synonymous with imagination. So in other words, practice this process of impregnating your imagination with what you want, with these high ideals for both yourself and a partner, okay? Practice this process of impregnating your subconscious mind. Then you will have the joy of attracting to you a man possessing the qualities and characteristics you mentally dwelt upon. Your subconscious intelligence will open up a pathway whereby both of you will meet according to the irresistible and changeless flow of your own subconscious mind. Have a keen desire to give the best that is in you of love, devotion, and cooperation. Be receptive to this gift of love which you have given to your subconscious mind. Wow, that's a fucking great paragraph.
I was getting ready to say that.
I mean, this is the thing again. And Marv, we haven't spoken about this together in the series yet because this is the first video in the series that you're on. Murphy is just like, again, for some people, Neville's going to be better, right? But generally speaking, for relationship advice, guys, Murphy is such a better SP teacher than Neville. Like just the excerpts we've read so far, like, oh, I mean, oh my gosh, they're so good. This is the law of assumption, okay? This is how to do it. If you want to be kind of like a traditionalist, right? Like this Murphy just described, like this is the tradition, like how do I use the law of assumption to attract a partner into my life? And he says, literally use your imagination and dwell upon the qualities and characteristics that you want. Your imagination will open up a pathway where you'll meet your correct partner through the irresistible and changeless flow of your imagination. Have a keen desire to give, not to take, but to give the best in you of love, devotion, and cooperation. And your imagination will respond kindly. Be receptive to this gift of love which you have given to yourself in your imagination. Joey Murphy. So Marv, we're not going to get to it today, and I don't know. Maybe I'll do the next one. So it just depends on our schedules. But the next section is called "How to Attract the Ideal Wife," and obviously, again, this is interchangeable. Genders, I don't think are that important here, but it's going to be more of the same in a great way. Again, by the end of this course, we hope we've really hammered home the power of using your imagination to change your self-concept into a more loving version of yourself, which naturally attracts a loving partner in your 3D. And it might not happen overnight. It might take time. And Murphy's going to give some examples of that in the coming pages. Any final thoughts for this section here, Marv?
I think the reception part was key. I think people have a hard time receiving, right? I think a lot of times some people can give, but some people have a hard time receiving, and they might not know what that looks like. Some people get nervous receiving money, receiving anything in life because they're uncomfortable with it. So I think, that reception part that he brought up, be open. You have to be open to receiving things with grace, humility, all of that. And I also think that, with relationships, it just seems like so many people go into this thing with the giving mentality, with the getting mentality, like he was saying, instead of the giving. And I think that's also a huge part that is missed a lot of times, is we always try to get using these techniques to get, but we miss out on that part that it's all about giving. And I think if you can do that, remember to give, and remember to receive, because those kind of go together. When you give, you will receive. You know, it's kind of like when you give money away, it always seems to come back somehow, some way, whenever you give it out, even if you don't have it. It's the same thing with love. When you give love, you're going to receive love. And I mean, Joseph Murphy, that quote is it's just so well put, you know. And I think that what he said goes also with what Florence Scovel Shinn kind of said. And your subconscious mind will, Florence describes it as your subconscious will flash a scene, right? It'll flash like what you're supposed to do or what's supposed to happen or whatever the case may be. And Murphy, he kind of goes along with that as well. You know, your subconscious mind will, like, I forget exactly how he words it, but you'll basically
Open up a pathway whereby both
yeah,
of you will meet according to the irresistible and changeless flow of your own subconscious mind. Yeah.
exactly, exactly. And that's how it's going to happen. So I feel like that's kind of the same thing Florence said, but also too, it's having the awareness to see, like Joseph Murphy was talking about, the qualities that you want in a partner. A lot of us, we don't have the awareness to see those qualities in a partner that we actually want, because we're so stuck. And I'm doing a series right now on the map of consciousness, you know, of people stuck on those bottom echelons of guilt, fear, apathy, all of that type of stuff. So they don't have the awareness to see the qualities that they really want in a partner. And then apathy kicks in and you feel hopeless. You feel like, what's the point? I don't want to do any of this. There's no reason. I failed 5, 10 times already, and you lose all hope. So I think Joseph Murphy made a great point in having the awareness to be able to see and feel exactly what you want in a partner, and to go for it and not to be blind, because some of you guys are so hurt that you're actually blinded by the fact that, oh, there's actually a really good guy right in front of me, a really good husband right in front of me, and I don't see it. So I think that's important.
Great points. Yeah. Yeah. What Murphy's saying, similar to Neville, is like, go to the end. Don't settle with the qualities that you want, because those qualities you have to find within yourself as well. And Murphy's saying, find those qualities within yourself as well. Meditate upon those qualities in meditation, in sats, or what have you, however you'd like to contemplate. Give those qualities of love. What are some of the other qualities he was talking about the other day? Health, peace, joy, inspiration, guidance, wealth, security, happiness. Start to give these qualities to yourself and think about having them in a partner. That is, you know, on the map of consciousness, that's a much higher level than coming from a place of fear, guilt, or shame, right? If you start to give that to yourself imaginatively, it will start to be reflected in your 3D. Be receptive to this gift of love which you have given to your subconscious mind, aka your imagination. Yeah. All right. Well, we got to go, but yeah, the playlist link is in the description if you haven't watched the first couple of videos, and we will continue on. Marv, thanks for joining me for this one here. Enjoy, guys. See you later.